Hello, everybody, and welcome to Middle Age Geeks. I'm one of your hosts, Daz, and I'm joined by my trusty co-host, Phil, a man who once tried to set up his own religion with a bunch of Star Wars characters and Cabbage Patch dolls. How are you doing, Philly?
I can't believe you've outed me for that. Yeah. I'm pretty good. I'm knackered. I've done fuck all this week. I've got building work going on, and
Oh,
so
yeah.
the house is like a fucking building site, and then I've spent the last few days trying to strip wallpaper, which it's been the house is built in the '60s, right? So there's like fucking whatever 60s or like I said, I'm not sure how many years actually wallpaper was put on, but I'd say there's about 80 years of different types of wallpaper that just kept being put on top of each other that I have to strip through. I've added about an extra foot in the room and space because there's so much fucking paper. So I'm out with the fucking steamer and everything trying to get it off. So that's pretty much what I've been doing for the whole week. So I'm bollocks, and I'll be doing more of it now when we finish up here. How about yourself?
Good, yeah, good. Had a good weekend of just watching my daughter play Peppa Pig. That's pretty much it, and that's all I've been watching and playing this week. It's been a good week. Tiring, same as yourself, just fucking up the walls at work and family bits and bobs. But yeah, looking forward to getting into this. A better movie than last week, for sure.
Yeah.
We will. This week we are going to be reviewing A24's newest horror psychological thriller, Heretic. But before that, we will share what we've been watching and playing. And but first, we'll get into some news. And actually, I got some feedback just there from Alan from Cork, who's a regular listener, and he just said that he's been playing Dragon Age all weekend and said he thinks it's fantastic. And he just said he felt we were a little bit too critical of a game that we hadn't played, and I'd take that on board to a certain point. But I think we were, because we did rant on about it, but the rant was more so around the kind of the review and the publisher's review code selection system and stuff. But we did go full onto it. So in response to you, Alan, if you're listening, at some point when it's heavily discounted and when there's no games to play, which will probably be in 2029.
I think that'll be soon. The fucking the reviews are starting to drop off. I think it was doing very well on Steam at the start, but day by day, the more people to play it, the more it seems to be dropping down. But
I'll give it
as long as if it's patched properly, if it's stable and everything to play, well then I'm sure I will pick it up. I've played the other Dragon Age games, and I suppose curiosity would almost get me now. Just like, is the dialogue as bad as the compilations that I've seen? Is it really that bad? Or people just picked out really bad stuff?
He did say the combat does get repetitive, and some of the writing is. Some of it he said is pretty good between the party members, and you get a bit of rapport and camaraderie and all that. But he said some of it is very awful and out of place, and I've seen some of that stuff online. So hopefully, he said there's not as much of that in the game as people are alluding to, apparently. But anyway, we'll move on. We'll play it at some point, Alan. Some point in the next 2 or 3 years. But news front, any news particularly fancy this week?
Not a massive amount. Like I said, I've been keeping the head down. One bit of good news and a bit of bad news. So I'll start off with the bad news. Everybody wants bad news first. The heartbreaking news that Tony Todd has passed away.
Oh yeah, man.
So like all-time sci-fi and horror, great, and apparently an absolute like legend to work with, lovely bloke. And like I would have been watching him and stuff since I was a kid, so it's just because of all the horror that I watch, and you always see him popping up in something. I haven't checked how many credits he has on IMDb, but I'm sure it's way up in the fucking hundreds. Because he just starred in little roles here and there. He just loved the genre, and so that was a bit of sad news. And then on a more positive note, and this is personal to my heart, Elizabeth Lale, aka Vanessa, is down on IMDb as being confirmed for returning for Friday or the Five Nights at Freddy's 2. So
no way. That's the best news of the week. She's back.
But apart from that, no, man, I haven't really been, because I've barely been online. I've just been fucking doing work around the house and then my normal job. So it's I have fuck all news this week. What about yourself?
A few bits, but to touch on that Tony Todd thing, because I was reading about Insomnia Games, who obviously did the Spider-Man games 1 and 2, and Tony Todd was voicing Venom in that, and he came out I think it was only a few weeks ago, and in response he was asked something about his work on the game, and he said about 90% of his dialogue isn't in the game, and there's no DLC for Spider-Man, which I imagine there was going to be maybe a Venom spin-off or a spin-off game or something like that. So maybe he will live on in the future at some point when all that dialogue is put to good use, maybe in a Venom game or something. But I found that odd. Just like they recorded a shitload, and if you get him in the room for voicing anything, you're gonna milk him. His voice is so fucking amazing. But I thought, it was just came to mind when I read that news yesterday. But a few quick bits. Mickey 17, Boon Joon-ho's eagerly anticipated follow-up to Parasite has been delayed to April. It's due to come out in January. That's a bit of a kick in the teeth, but then it's cool because it's starting off almost the summer season, which will be nice, but it just means another 3 months to wait, which is torturous, will be torturous. Another bit of news, apparently there's a Joker TV show in the works after the success of The Penguin, with Barry Keoghan playing the role, which I think would be quite exciting. I don't know if that might be too much of a look into a character to get his own
but like all we've seen is that small, tiny bit of him as the character. We haven't seen,
But it'd be interesting, like if that is following the second movie or before the second movie or whenever the second movie is actually going to come out. Because I was a fan of him as the character. He's a fantastic actor. But I wasn't a fan of the bit they left in the movie, but I was a big fan of the deleted scene that they took out of the movie, which must have been really fucking hard to take out because I thought it was excellent. But so watch this space on that one. And then Fallout TV Series 2 added Macaulay Culkin to the cast. Just like, yes, fucking brilliant. He's I think he's so perfectly kooky enough to tap into anything in this world. And apparently he's playing some crazy genius character or something. It's just like, oh, fucking 100%.
Brilliant.
So that hype for that just gets better and better. And then the last bit was probably bad news. It's X-Men writer Simon Kinberg. Apparently, signed up to write a new Star Wars trilogy that's going to continue the Skywalker saga through to episode 12. And you just read that and you're just going, fuck, how have we banged on about this and so much? It's all over online. Everywhere you see people just like, you don't want this. Like, just let it go. You fucked up the last two movies. And it's no one has any desire to follow the saga anymore because everyone they liked from the original, they're all dead. Except Chewie. It's like, for fuck's sake. I just found that. And he's coming on to write it. And I love the way where they put the news stories, they say, from the producer of Deadpool and Wolverine, because it's, recent success. But he's a writer for a lot of X-Men stuff, but he's written really good stuff like Mr. and Mrs. Smith and X-Men, Days of Futures Past. But then he's also written the X-Men The Last Stand and Apocalypse and Dark Phoenix, and it's like, ugh. So, but it's more so not the writer itself, it's more so that they're just continuing the fucking saga. It's like flogging a dead horse.
And is it like more, is it just, are they going with Rey mostly, or what are they doing?
I think it's just going to follow Rey, because there was supposed to be, there was rumors of the next movie is going to follow her story again. And then it was like, no, okay, there was a bit of backlash and maybe something behind the scenes. It seemed to just kind of disappear into the ether and on the internet news-wise. And then it's just like, oh, it's not one movie. Ta-da! Doing another 3. It's like, oh my God.
We heard what you said. You didn't want another Rey movie. So we read between the lines. And you were implying you want 3. So here it comes.
Here you go. Yeah, so, that's awful news. And that's that. So on that note, then we'll get on to what we've been watching and playing. Have you been playing anything at all, or just watching the walls?
Oh, well, this week I have been playing, watching very little, just bits and pieces, like just mostly Marvel Snap's really the only kind of thing I've fucking played this week, because I can play it on my phone when I have a few minutes. But no, I've done fuck all. I think the stuff I've watched is stuff that we've already kind of I've watched before. Was kind of just rewatched, comfort stuff to have on in the fucking while I'm eating my dinner kind of thing. So no, I was literally have nothing for our section this week. I have 0. What about yourself?
That's great. I have nothing as well. No, what I was saying that I got, well, I was about to say I got stuck into Peppa Pig. I was watching my daughter play Peppa Pig, although I did play a few levels just to see if I could beat her time, you know. But I went to turn it on and realized it's on the Xbox, and then I was straight away knew in the back of my mind, it's like, oh fuck, I'm after saying we'll play Peppa, and it's on. I know it was on Game Pass. I'm just like shit.
You had to sign up again.
I had to sign up again, and when I cancelled it, you know, we give out about all the price hikes, but they were keeping your price. I had the ultimate at $12.99, and they were going to keep that for 2 years or something like that. But I said, yeah, fuck you, and got rid of that. But then to sign back up again, it's 19 fucking euros or something. It's like, ah, shit, just to play Peppa Pig. And my daughter plays for all the games that I play, and I'm totally open to her playing. She plays a game, and then could be another month before she'll kind of go, oh, can I play Mario Kart? She just, yeah, it's not grabbed her, the addiction that I have. But yeah, we played Peppa Pig for a little bit, and then that evening I was like, oh, I'll check what's on Game Pass, and fucking Black Ops 6 was on there, Call of Duty Black Ops 6. So I said, I'll try and fucking download it, and it wasn't the rumored 250 gigabytes that I thought it was. That would have put me off, fucking waiting for hours for that to download. But yeah, I got stuck into it because I'd heard good things and reviews about it, and it's superb. The campaign is fucking brilliant. It's the most un-Call of Duty game I've ever played. Yeah, it's like the story follows on from Black Ops 5, which I didn't play, so I was kind of lost in terms of character names being referenced and all that kind of shit. But you get the gist, you know, Black Ops, undercover, ex-CIA, you know, against the government kind of shit. It's set in 1991, which is just a cool setting, kind of Gulf War, Desert Storm kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have the massive battles where you're just charging gung-ho into the madness, you know, and the Michael Bay moments and all that. It's a different, more subtle take on the franchise. And I don't know if Black Ops 5 was like this, but it's a lot more measured, stealth being a big factor. And there are big bombastic moments, but they're short and fleeting. There's one mission you've to infiltrate a gala event, you know, with disguises, and there's a lot of different options how you have to obtain like a scan of some guy's face so you can get into a government facility or something. And it's like the Mission Impossible game you never knew you needed. It's just fucking brilliant. You're kind of going around, and then there's one level that is like an open world level where you're going around in a jeep, and you've got to infiltrate bases and blow up some silos or something like that, and you can do it all at your own pace and in with your party in your own time. It's just really, really good fun. I haven't got into the multiplayer or anything like that. I heard that's pretty good and unforgiving, and you don't need to be a robotic child genius reflexes to have any chance.
What's the length of the campaign?
I think it said it's about like 6-7 hours. I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's usually around 5, isn't it? I think it usually takes about 5 hours. Yeah.
But it's because normally if you play them, you get through it, and it's a lot of just, wow, what a cool fucking spectacle moment gaming wise. But eventually, like, people just got kind of tired of that, and they were phoning it in Call of Duty wise. The last few that I played, it was just set piece after set piece, get a big name actor, get their face on it. Like last one, Kevin Spacey was one of the last ones, you know, and it just it just wasn't didn't really hit as hard anymore. But this is much better, more measured gameplay. Just, you know, and I like the kind of slower stealth aspect. You don't have to be stealthy. You can go fucking all in, balls to the wall if you want. But it generally ends up with you being face down in a puddle of mud, which is good. But yeah, really enjoyed it. So yeah, that's what I've been playing, what I've been watching. I tried to sit down to watch just some new show today. I was just like, right, I'm going to watch a fucking new show because I got a new phone. I got 3 months Apple TV. I was like, okay, I'll see what's on there. And after about 25 minutes of scrolling, and it's just so many options, I went, fuck it, I'll go back to Netflix and have a look. And ended up watching Lost again.
Oh, deadly. Well, you never watched season 1, did you?
That's the thing, yeah. I was just like looking at it, I was like, oh, I remember that. And I said, oh yeah, I've never seen the first season. So when I came back from traveling, you guys were just, it was like, oh, the premiere season 2 is on. It's just like, I remember watching it kind of going, what the fuck is happening? What's all these numbers? And everyone's sitting there with you going, we don't know either. Just, oh, that's brilliant. But yeah, I watched the first 3 episodes last night, and it's just excellent. So I'll see what happens after I finish the season. But I'd love to just get sucked into it all again. there's nostalgia in that first season, even though I haven't seen it. It's just seen all the characters in the beginning. It's like, it's fucking great. But yeah, so looking forward to getting stuck into the rest of that. And that is, that's what I've been watching and playing. So with that out of the way, let's get on to our movie review. A24's Heretic, starring Hugh Grant and two other ladies. I can't remember the name. Take it away, Philly.
Cheers, man. Yeah, this week's review is The Heretic, written and directed by Scott Beck and Brian Woods, and it stars Hugh Grant, Sophie Thatcher, and Chloe East. I don't know Chloe East from anything, but I do know Sophie Thatcher she's in Yellow Jackets, and she was in Maxine as well. And she's amazing in Yellow Jackets. She's probably one of my favorite actors in it. But I don't know the other one. And Hugh Grant, man, I love Hugh Grant in this. But it's the basic premise is that it's these two religious women are drawn to the game of cat and mouse in the house of a strange man, and that's all we get, as the synopsis. And it's while it's accurate, it goes a lot deeper than that. I suppose we'll do the usual, which for people at home, we do a spoiler-free part at the start where we'll just talk about our thoughts, give it a star rating, and then we'll move on to Spoiler Town. So why don't you tell me, Daz, first, what did you think? What were your overall feelings on this one?
Oh, I thought this was great. It's really, really good. Just performances-wise, like Hugh Grant is absolutely perfectly cast for this movie. It's unbelievable. He's just his face. He's at an age now where his face is just perfect for having that kind of that smile and that kind of
charm,
like a bit of charm, but there's he just effortlessly can't even speak, goes into this kind of sinister vibe without it. Like he just teeters on the edge of both so easily, and it's so the tone that is set in this movie I thought was just fantastic. The female performances are incredible. Essentially, it's a three-hander movie between all of them, but like it's minimal locations. What is it, like three rooms in the house that it's set in? The cinematography is fucking brilliant. Like
I went to the nail that home as well, man. It's excellent. Yeah,
and that's the guy. It's he's got one of the best names in the world, like Chung Hoon Chung or something. His name is. He's the guy that did Old Boy and Lady Vengeance, and he's South Korean cinematographer. He's fantastic. But I thought the script was excellent. The dialogue interplay between them for the first hour of the movie, it's just them kind of chatting about religion and the arguments and discussions around it, and it's quite engrossing. Like it's well balanced in terms of their interplay. I really enjoyed it. And it goes places, it goes kind of mad, and the end is kind of hit or miss depending on it's one of those movies that it's the ending will never fully satisfy what the journey has been. It's just But I thought it was really, really good, really, really good. How about yourself?
I think I'd echo a lot of the stuff of what you're saying. I think towards the end, I'm a little bit confused on one point towards the end. We'll discuss when we get into the spoiler section. But yeah, I loved it. I mean, the conversation around religion, I felt was like they could have gone with cheap shots towards the religious, because that's what one side of it is, people saying, well, here's all the holes in your religion, here's but they also have, but they let the girls who are on the religious side of things, and I'm not religious, I don't believe you are either, but they let them kind of fight their corner as well and stand up for this, and I thought that was good as well, because he almost feels like he's, I don't want to give too much away, but he almost feels like he has the upper hand. Like, I'm just going to expose everything to you, and you're not going to believe, And so it was really cool that they actually gave it, because it could have been a cheap shot. They could have taken cheap shots at religion, like, because at the start when he's having one of his rants, it might as well be Religious by Bill Maher. It might as well be that, because he's going through a lot of the same stuff that we already know. But no, it's great. And the sense of dread, the fact that they keep, as people have seen from the trailer, the inside of his house is just like, it's like a fucking time warp. Like, everything is fucking from, back in like the 70s or stuff like that. And it's just, everything has this real edge to it that's just kind of just creepy, but at the same time homely. So you're like, would they have felt super out of place because he has that charm and stuff when they walk into his house? Would they feel out of place? Would they be like panicked, or would like, oh no, it's just English gentleman, and he's, you know, he's talking to them all super nice, and he's offering drinks, and he's just,
and that sense of dread. That sense of dread is slow. It's such a slow crawl into the room.
Yeah,
it's kind of like, you know, it's kind of a creepy, not creepy house, but it's just an odd house anyway. But then it's just slowly, all about, you know, he's saying he's making a blueberry pie, or his wife's making blueberry pie, and it's just minute by minute. It's, you can see that it's not one moment. It's just bit by bit there, slowly kind of looking around, going, is something amiss here? And it's beautifully edited, and like, yeah, the tone and kind of mystery that it sets up is, yeah, really engaging. Like,
yeah, I think that it like, as we get into it, obviously, I don't want to give too much away because it is one of these. It is a thriller, and I hate when we're trying to do this, trying not to give away any spoilers. So but like, but it's great to look at. The performances are great. What I loved is they don't overuse any sort of the score in it. They really do let some scenes just sit there in silence, the awkwardness, and build the tension. And it's just really good. There's one point where they're in the living room, I think it is, with him, and the camera does a full 360 of them while they're standing there and stuff. And it's just, you feel like you're in the room with them, you know, and you feel that claustrophobic kind of sense of, and they're asking, we can't really be here unless your wife is here. Can you get your wife to come out, kind of thing? And you're just like, oh, something's going to happen, but when, what is it? What's going to fucking happen? It's just, it kept the tension really, really well. No, I was a fan. Like, there's a few, as I said, because of the way it kind of ends, and a lot of these movies do that. How do you stick the landing when you've built up something with such great dialogue, and you've put forward these ideas, and then it goes a certain way? You're like, ugh, like a movie that builds something, and then it turns out it was supernatural all along, and that's,
or it was a dream or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, they get it with some Stephen King stuff. It turns out that part was supernatural the whole time, or whatever. And that, I like the Outsider. Yeah, it's great. It's a great show, great book. But if you're not into that kind of stuff at the start, it's super mystery. How are they going to explain this? Oh, okay, fair enough. It's supernatural, and it's granted, you should know that. If it's Stephen King, you should probably guess that going in. But a lot of these movies do that, where we're waiting to find out what the big mystery is, and it turns out it's some really convenient thing to pay off. So I wasn't totally mad at the ending, but the performances are great, the sets are great. I forgot to look up what the budget was, but it can't have been massive because of the. The sets, despite the sets being great, they are quite simple as well. And even that town at the start, are they in Colorado or somewhere like that? Because it's just gorgeous with these towns where you see the gigantic mountains in the background. It's excellent. But look, that's it for the spoiler-free part. There's nothing really we can say more without ruining it for everybody at home. So, I'm going to go ahead and I will give this one 3.5. I thought it was really, really good. Closing in on 4. Like, it really is a decent watch, and it's worth it just for even if you're not mad into religion or the story, that kind of stuff. It's great performances, are well worth checking out. What about you, Des?
Yeah, I'd give it a 4. I think I do echo the ending was a little puzzling, and there's so many different ways you can go with that ending, and I wasn't actually expecting them to stick the landing and I kind of. Sometimes you're disappointed with the ending, but I'm even thinking, how the fuck would I end it? It's almost like you get to a certain point and you go, it's really good, just don't completely fuck it up, or like Long Legs or something like that, where it just completely goes fucking batshit crazy. But 4, just because performances, location, cinematography, script, just really engaging, really engrossing. The first half is stronger than the second half, but and just the central performances are I just thought they were all fantastic, absolutely fantastic. 4 stars, just because the ending gets a little bit meh. But
and they could have made it shorter. I mean, they could have made it shorter. Like, it's just shy of 2 hours. Like, you could have made this a little bit shorter. But like, I mean, these aren't major gripes. Like I said, I'll be nearly a 4 myself. It's a really competent and in some points actually incredibly enjoyable. So okay, well, cool. That's our spoiler free section out of the way. So now we will move on now. Actually, yeah, we're going to move on to Spoiler Town, but I realize it's a very short episode for anybody who isn't sticking around for the spoilered section, because we've watched fuck all and played fuck all and had fuck all news. So, yeah, sorry for the short episode this week if you're leaving now. Yeah, okay. Well, look, onto the spoiler section. As I said, it's two religious women drawn into a game of cat and mouse in the house of a strange man. And how they get there, like they start off to give you an idea of how, I suppose, innocent these two girls are. You see them, they're both kind of sitting on a bench talking about it, and they're talking about sex, because they're sitting on a bench, and the bench is an ad for Magnum condoms, and they're talking about sex as if, school kids who have heard other people talking about sex or describing it secondhand because they don't know what it is, and it's just the way they're talking about it. But straight away you get that vibe from the opening that Sister Barnes is way more streetwise than Sister Paxton.
Absolutely.
Like she's real. You kind of, she has a different kind of past, like whereas Sister Paxton was born into this Church of Mormon. She had kind of, her family were, after her dad had died, were kind of looking for something, for a new faith or something to find, and they kind of shopped around for religions almost, and ended up in the Church of Mormon. And so she has a past, and you can get that from the very start, just the way, even her look, and again, I suppose she's the first one who kind of starts to get on the, okay, there's something wrong with this dude when we get to that part, But what did you think about that opening? I mean, I thought it was cool. I like the way because it's a cold opening, it's straight into them talking, and then the titles all go up around the corners of the screen and stuff.
Fucking loved. Like straight away, I was just like, I just love inventive titles. But straight away when I was in the cinema, and it's great, and the corner is just directed by, and then across the top, I'd love something. But I noticed on the right side of the screen, it had like, cinematography by, and then the name was cut out, and I was just like, fucking projectionist has got this. It's slightly askew, and you're going, how much am I missing here? So it was only like a foot or two that I was missing, but straight away from that, me being a fucking idiot, like I that was taking my attention straight away. I was just like, isn't that cool? I didn't realize what they were talking about. Then I tuned in, they're chatting about porn or something on the bench, and I was just like, I've missed about a minute of this movie because I'm looking at the fucking credits.
And it's a gorgeous shot though. Like, because it's zooming in, it's zooming out on them from behind, and we can see they're looking out over on the bench, looking out over a mountain, like. And the way it just kind of zooming out, you can eventually see that they're sitting on a bench with a condom ad on the back of it, like, and it's just
But it sets them up perfectly. Like, you get everything you need to know about them. It's expert filmmaking, and from a script wise, you get everything you need to know about them to set it up in those first couple of minutes. And they're walking around, they're trying to chat to people passing by, and then there's a bunch of kids trying to get a selfie with them, and pull down her skirts
just to make fun of them,
making fun of them, and they're just like, just so innocent, and you're just going, oh fucking hell, like, it's not going to go too well for you guys, but it's just a brilliant opening.
I think those type of, I maybe it's that I just don't handle rejection as well as, but that kind of like those people who do that, or even the people who are out, the people that we would nickname chuggers, who would be out on the street trying to get you to sign up for whatever, that to have the constantly people completely pretend like you're not there and just ignore you and walk past. Like, I don't hear how emotionally stable you are. That's still gotta hurt. That's still gotta fucking suck. Like they're walking past, and this woman walking past, like, hey, we were wondering if you'd like to hear more about the Jesus Christ. Boom, straight past, as if there's no one had said a thing. Yeah, completely blanked. And it's just, if I was doing that all day, and 90% of the people walking past were kind of either not even looking at me, pretending I'm not even there, that has to start affecting you psychologically. Like,
I'd be running home crying after the first person. Would you like to know? Oh, fuck's sake, fuck this shit. Just like, this sales mentality. Just some people are hard as nails.
Yeah, I'll be going after them. Don't act like you can't see me, you motherfucker.
Jesus, repent.
Jesus knows you're a prick.
Exactly. He's coming for you.
So they go there. That's their buzz anyway. They go around trying to get people to sign up. So basically, I think that the whole idea is that people have already registered an interest, and so they go out to kind of recruit them then after they have names of people. So they will stop some people on the street to give them pamphlets, but the people's houses that they call to have already been they've already registered an interest. So they have a list that they have to get through. And so we get right into it. Like, after they've been out in the street, and we get a quick vibe about what they do, we're straight into it. To that, it's not them going to a bunch of houses and they finally get to him. We're straight into this house by Hugh Grant, who's just Mr. Reed, and it's piss and rain, and he's like, they said we can't come in because unless your wife is. He goes, oh, well, my wife's actually in the kitchen. If you want to come in, he's like, oh, that's great, yeah. So they come in straight away, and you can imagine them from them. This is their first interaction with him. He's all smiles and charming, and he's dressed well, respectable, and his glasses, and he just looks like a normal, friendly dude. Looks kind of befuddled, and the usual way Hugh Grant does. And yeah, like you can imagine that would have been just seem completely normal to these two girls, put them at ease, and yeah. But
that's one of those things with this movie where, with a movie like this, more so when it's a scary movie or horror movie, where people, when they sense dread or something like that, where they always make decisions that you just question, kind of, what the fuck are you doing that? Or why in the house? Get out straight away now. And it's during this next like half an hour that even when there's this sense that like something is amiss here, they get into their discussions, but then it's, like, where is your wife? There is those moments and there is this kind of not so much sense of dread, but uneasiness. But still, because Hugh Grant's character is so charming and his smile, and he's very kind of likable, even with that sinister edge, that it's totally believable that you wouldn't just get up and freak out and run. You just there's no alarming reason to leave. It's just a little bit. Where is your wife? Do you have a fucking wife?
and that's it. Like,
done. Like, it's so good.
It really is. I think, and I'd agree with that as well. Like they can. You don't want to come out and just straight away ask somebody like, "Are you a fucking psychopath? Where's your wife?" Whatever, because they know.
Did you eat your wife?
Because they're still in. They're still going to be stuck in this room with this man. So you don't want to be calling out or freaking out straight away. And so that uneasiness building up is so well done. But it's. I love there's a shot there as well, Daz, that they pull out. They're kind of them walking up to the house, and the camera pulls out to the gate where they've locked their bikes, and it's just cool. Yeah, pull out. It's a really cool shot of just to show them they've locked their bikes at the gate.
And it goes through the gate. Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool.
Awesome.
But anyway, they go, okay, yeah, fine, we can go on in then. And he's taken ages to come to the door to begin with. You can hear him unlocking all these different mechanisms and locks to get the thing open, and eventually lets them in. Yeah, the house is proper ancient. I love the decor, man. It's real. It is that super 70s vibe. Like if you just saw the trailer, you might wonder when this is set, but yet they do have mobile phones and stuff, like, so it is present day. But like if you were to just look at the trailer, you probably think, oh yeah, that does look like it's a period piece or something, There is one part, right, that I thought was a bit weird. So they go into the house and he has a line, and obviously it'll come up and the reason for it. So but he says the walls and ceilings have metal in them. Is that okay? I hope that's okay, or something like that. And they're like, yeah, that's grand. It's like, what kind of weird thing to say to somebody? And I get that this is going to play a part later on, that it's, why they can't use their phones and stuff in the house. But it's just, it was a weird thing to say. I hope that's okay. Right? Yeah, it is, isn't it?
It works earlier on when you kind of, where, when he does bring it up again, he's just like, well, I did tell you there was metal in the walls and whatever, so no cell reception or mobile phone reception. But, and I get what they're trying to do, where it's a callback later on that.
Yeah, I guess they have to set it up, but yeah.
Set up, but I thought it could have been delivered in, he could have told them about that in a story or in less abrupt and to the point, where he could have been talking about something and said, oh yeah, but there is metal in the walls because I had some work done or something like that. And
it was just a weird way to do it. To ask
it's
them,
very abrupt, and very
and with such great dialogue in the movie, it really stood out as something a bit weird. Like, why would he as a person say that to somebody? The walls and ceilings have metal with them. I hope that's okay. Like, what? Why would you say that to somebody coming into your house? What are they going to say? Like, yes, it's fine with me that you have metal in your walls. What the fuck, you weirdo? Yeah. Like, it was just such a.
Is that a line for the audience essentially to kind of go, I have to set something up with the audience that
it was a bit weird because and I think it stands out because the dialogue is so good.
And if that was different characters or something, you kind of go, what the fuck's that mean? What are you talking about? Why? Yeah, bizarre.
Well, they straight away, you can see Barnes is kind of uneasy straight away. She's like, okay, is your wife coming up? And then they're like, oh, she's actually making a pie, and they're like, And they can smell it. He's like, what kind of pie do you think it is? And she goes, oh, it smells like blueberry. He goes, it is. It's exactly what it is. It is blueberry pie. And you can just tell her, you can see Paxton's a proper believer, super innocent. She's trying to straight away preach the fucking Mormon, preach the Book of Mormon and Latter-day Saints and all that stuff. And as they're talking, next thing the power goes out. And then he's like, oh, it's everything in the house is on a timer, blah, blah, blah. And he says he wants to ask.
Just fucking weird, like.
Yeah. And he's already started off at this point. He's told him he's searched for all different types of religion. And that's why he wants to learn more about the Book of Mormon and stuff. And he says, I want to ask you a difficult question, an awkward question. And he asked him, how do you feel about polygamy? And this is the very start of him starting to pick apart the religion. So he's made out that to get in there, that he has no idea about religion, when really he knows fucking everything about every religion. He studied them all. Yeah. But to get them to come over to the house in the first place, which is creepy as fuck. But this is him starting to pick. Yeah, it's him starting to pick holes in their faith, and he starts talking about polygamy. And this is the thing. Like, this is something that does happen with religions. Now, he says, you think polygamy is bad and it's not allowed, but he said up until a certain point, polygamy in Mormonism was part of it. It was great. But then what you can have is you can have revelation. Something happens, and you can say, actually, now you can do it. The word of God has changed. And it is. There's a lot of convenience in, you see the people can't eat meat on a Friday, and fucking, no, we've just changed that. The Pope has decided he's gotten a word from God. They just change it as they want. That's the convenience, of religion. They just change these things. And he's making the point of, well, the reason it was there is because the reason they had to get rid of it is because they were finding they couldn't get people on board. They couldn't get people on board because they were like, well, why do I want to join? And, fucking, why would a woman want to join when she's like, well, fucking, this guy can have 10 different wives. I don't want that, And so it was affecting, Hugh Grant says it's affecting numbers. And then you have Barnes fighting back saying, actually, no, it was there because they wanted to get people in at the start. They wanted to grow their ranks at the start, which is why it's there, but it's not needed anymore. And that's why it's not used. It's not
valid argument.
So it's as I said, they get their chance to fight back against him and his arguments the whole way through. It's great. He goes in and he says and he's been researching religions for decades, and he says he says, unfortunately, I have found what the true one is. And so straight away, this is where I was like, oh shit, okay, what is it? What is it going to be? And when is this? What is this going? Yeah, what's this going to be revealed? And again, the question keeps popping up. Where's your wife? Da, da, da. And you can just see Barnes is getting more and more uneasy, and Paxton is kind of still is the innocent one, and is still kind of thinking everything is fine. But then when he goes, oh well, I'll go and leave the room and go and check on the wife again. And he goes to, so while he's gone, they start saying, okay, well look, we're gonna have to fucking scoot off when he comes back. We'll come up with an excuse when he comes back, and we'll leg it. We'll just get out of here. And while she's sitting there, she looks down at the candle he had on the table, and when she twists it around, the flavor of it is, or the smell of it, scent of it is blueberry pie.
It's a brilliant reveal.
It really is.
It's just like oh fuck. Get out of there now.
There's no fucking wife here.
He's eating her.
Yeah, and so this is the escalation. Then they're trying to be calm about this and stuff, because they're still in this house with this lunatic. Even if they know he's a psychopath, you can't let him know And so they're starting to freak out while he's out of the room. They're trying to get out. The door won't unlock. They've got their phones out. They've got no signal, and then they have to, Hugh Grant has told them to follow him when he's ready. And so they have to go into the back room. They have no other choice because their door won't open. They'll have to go into Hugh Grant's.
They don't have the key for the bike lock. They've locked the gates. That's when they realize, even if they get out, they're just like, oh shit, he took their coats. So they're just like, our bike lock. Fuck. So we kind of have to go back anyway. Which is like, exactly. Fuck. It's terrifying.
But then you also have that hope of, okay, well, look, at least their bikes are out there. If anybody comes looking for them, the bikes will be there, so it's okay. But they go back in and back to the back room to get Hugh Grant, and he's basically got a church in his house. Like, it's this old ass looking room that's like an altar, and he's got all bits and pieces about different religions. And they lie to him and say that they got a call and they have to leave, which is obviously they haven't, and he knows full well they haven't. And he still can't. And this is it. It's the real. There's tears in their eyes as they're trying to remain cordial and stuff, as he's saying, oh, no, there's a time lock on the front door, and that's why it won't open until morning, but there is a door that can let you out the back, you get the back way instead. And like, they're terrified. But again, what if it just made me think as well, like, thank fuck. Now, don't get me wrong, I love women. I would hate to be a woman, man. This, like, because it's just this fear of that. I suppose that saying that men are afraid. Yeah, men are afraid women will laugh at them, and women are afraid that men will kill them. You know, and it's it like what can they possibly? They have to sit there and they're just completely terrified, but have to be fucking smile and nice because they don't know how this guy will react, and he's just he keeps telling him it's fine, everything's fine. He's just completely calm, but at the same time, nothing of what he said is adding up. You know, the why would the doors be locked? Why did you lie about your wife being here? You know, everything is built up in me, and he just keeps going on. The tension is just wonderful. What did you think of this now in this part? In this church part of the tension building, like
when you touched on it, just their performances, and it's that physical performance when they're just walking into the room and just the look in their eyes, and you're saying that like before that, like some tears start coming down one of their eyes, but even before that, you can just see that they're just trying to hold it together, and just like because what can you do if you freak out? Something may escalate to the next level. So and you touched on it there. It's hard to put yourself in that position as a guy or whatever, but you're literally just looking at it going, I couldn't believe just that amount of dread in the cinema. Where you're going, what do you do? Do you just try and engage with him? You know, do you just go along with, you know, like there's no way out of the scenario, and people, it's like they just have to kind of play along, and it's even the moment when they're saying, look, we had to go, you know, we got a call, and even Hugh Grant is still just playing it nice and calm and just going, well,
yeah,
how did you? Because I told you there was metal in the walls and ceiling. There's no reception in here. Just, you know, it's not like, I got you. He just calmly says that to them to kind of gauge their reaction. They're like, oh, well, you know, please, can you can you get your wife? And that's one of my favorite moments. He's just when he attributes the wife to kind of religion, when he's just like, do you want me to go out and pretend that she's there when do you really think she's in the next room making a cake, you know? Or like religion, do we pretend to just keep on believing in this comfort, in something for comfort, when there's evidence all around you if you want to look for it to the contrary? And it's just, I loved that bit where I know it's more working for his side of the argument, but it's just fantastic. It's just, he delivers it just so calmly and so fucking like a masterful psychopath, where it's just like he's almost still just smiling at them, but just smiling in a way you just give him a warm hug. You know, it's just, I loved this fucking scene where it's starting to escalate, but again, not completely out of control, but just really, he's just absolutely playing with them. But that thing about the wife is just fantastic. Do you really think she's in the next room? It's just like, oh fuck. You know?
Yeah, when he gets his bit of chalk out, he's telling them they can leave, and he says the back door. But you see in the church there's two doors, and he gets his chalk out and he writes belief on one and disbelief on the other. And he says, like, if you truly believe that that's the way out, or I'm not lying to you, or life is that you can go through this one, or you can go through that one. And it's interesting because the two girls go to different doors to pick to walk up that actually knows disbelieve and stuff. But but the thing is, I was wondering at the start, what the hell is behind the door? Because when Barnes opens the belief door, she opens it up, and then you just see her face, and it's just this look of terror. I was like, what the fuck is behind the door? Like, did she see some fucking something horrible behind it? What exactly is it? And we find out later it's really just a staircase thing, but it's obviously terrifying. They think it's a door at the back, but when they go up the door, it's like it goes down into like a basement, and that's going to be fucking terrifying. And of course, for everything, he always has an excuse. You know, he says, "Oh well, the house you will have seen. The house is actually on a hill. So yeah, if you're at the back door, it's actually on a slope. So you have to go down." And again, you know, this might make sense, you know, like in some way, but at the same time, they've already seen too much of him saying this kind of nonsense. They know it, that he's a psycho. He knows they know there's a psycho, but both of them are still playing it up, you know, and it's just great. Like everybody's in on exactly what's going on, but everybody's continuing to play their part because they don't want it to or the girls don't want it to escalate.
And even like in the midst of that scene when it's all, the tension is fucking rife and it's getting out of control, and then he reaches down and what's he going to fucking bring out from under the table? It's going to be a dead cat or something. He brings up Monopoly. You're just like, what?
Oh
the
yeah,
fuck?
but
he's just
before that though we get to, because we do get because we obviously we have to have that part where we need to know if someone's looking for them, because they're missing, obviously, and we get a cut back to their church, and the guy, one of the elders, is cleaning up, and he sees that there's a yoke that they haven't signed in that day, so he knows they haven't come back.
Oh yeah, he goes looking for them.
And I barely recognized them. Did you see the actor who was?
That 70s show.
Yeah, Topher Grace, man. I was looking at going, it's like, I fucking know him from somewhere, and I didn't place him until he popped into it later on. I was like, oh, that's who fucking is. Barely recognized him. But yeah, like, it's back to when before he brings the Monopoly thing, this is when they tell him, they say to him now outright, they're scared and there's going to be people looking for them. So they've cut off that they've gone away with the niceties of, okay, thank you very much for letting us be here, blah, blah, blah. They've full on told him someone's going to be looking for us. And yeah, this is the part where he makes, and I love this, when he pulls out the Monopoly board. Yeah, because he just doing a comparison, which we see from a lot of things. He's talking about that all religions that we have now are basically iterations of earlier stuff. And so he said you've got the main ones of Judaism and Christianity and Islam, and he was just showing the connections between each one. And the stories aren't exactly the same, but he's pointing out, and he was saying, look, he used Monopoly to show it. He said, Monopoly, everybody knows the game, but he said, here's an earlier one. And I can't remember what the earlier one was called, American something or other.
Yeah.
And it's basically for all accounts, it is Monopoly, made by an American woman, but some other guy came in, took it over. He mass produced it. He became one of the biggest, game seller of all time. And she was completely forgotten about. And he's saying, but yet she did the original one.
Each iteration on something, diminishes what came before.
Exactly. And then when he's talking about there's a song by the Hollies, and he was saying that Radiohead robbed that, and then when Lana Del Rey did something, so the Hollies had fucking gotten money from Radiohead from saying they copied them, and then Radiohead ended up suing Lana Del Rey because she copied them, and he's just saying, but each iteration, but it was never Radiohead's to begin with, in the same way, and it's changed slightly, and that's what keep happening, these bastardizations of an original story, which is just that. He's saying it's just that, it's just a story, and it's all these countries around there, in the Middle East and stuff, all had very similar things. Some of them hundreds or 1,000 years between them. But like he said, Horus, was born of a virgin, had 10 disciples, all that kind of stuff. He's just
born on the 25th of December, and
they're all the same birth
from the dead, and all this. It's
they're all super similar. But then
Star Wars,
Star Wars. This is Jar Jar Binks' impression. But again, it's great because like he's doing this talking about iterations and how they all trace back to a certain one. But again, this could be just where we'd all be completely on the side, and as enjoyable as it is, we are still getting her side of it. Then we're getting Barnes is the one, she's the one that comes back at him and says, well, no, there's different iterations, but you're only talking about the similarities, whereas you're not talking about any of the differences between them. Like Jesus isn't even mentioned in one. They don't even believe him to be the prophet in another. And it's just you just seem to casually ignored all those differences between them. And so like it is, they're giving them their fair shout to stick up for their religion, which is good. And then, but again, it's when they have to pick those two different doors, she's the one that says to him, like, I think that because you're making us pick the doors, all this kind of stuff, that she said, I think that this is all part of an experiment, that you're running an experiment on us to see what us two people of faith will do. And she's like, so she's after poking a few holes in his theory about it, which is great. It's again, as I said in the spoiler-free part, it could have easily been a cheap shot, but I think it's great that they allowed it to. Did you enjoy this? Because I know you're a fan of Religulous, the Bill Maher thing, and how he breaks it down. Did you enjoy this part?
Oh, I just love this. I just love how he goes, just as he goes into it, and he's so well read on all this, and it's taken exactly from Religulous, and the whole thing of just there's thousands of these, religions, but I loved, as you said, I loved the way that they do say that, like, you are listing, and you can list out, 10 things that are the same, and they are pretty big things when they all rose from the dead, virgin births, all these things, but why that isn't a very obvious red herring or alert to somebody who is religious, that the way that they fight back is perfect. It's like, yeah, you are listing a few things, but there's thousands of differences between them, and and that's enough for them to sway their belief. And you go, no, well, okay, I don't quite agree, but it makes perfect sense. And again, it's another example of just a perfectly scripted. See, even though he has the upper hand, it's not bending fully to his will in terms of he's not just converting them, or your fucking religion is nonsense. It's still, they're still fighting their corner. It's still equal to a certain degree. But when they choose a different doors is great. Or one is trying to appease Grant and kind of go, right, okay, blah blah blah. I think I'm picking this door for this reason, and the other one is picking the door for a completely different reason. And it's and they're both down to the same fucking place, which is fantastic. But
that's it. Like, it's great when he's because they're trying to get down the disbelief door, and they have gone down the belief door. And again, Paxton is still trying to hold on to that. Okay, thank you for your kind wisdom and your kind of education. We'll go ahead and we'll go think on that. Thank you for your hospitality. Barnes is already like, no, this guy's a psycho. We need to get the fuck out of there.
To die, like.
Paxton's just like, please don't kill us. But yeah, when they go down this they go down the stairs. It just leads down to this fucking dark ass tunnel into the basement, and it leads to a door with a key in it. They go in, and they're in the basement, and it's just they kind of start having a plan because they know he's going to come down. They hear someone coming down afterwards. They've picked up Barnes has stolen the letter opener from the thing and said, "Look here, when we say the magic word, which is going to be the magic underpants, you stab him you stab him in the neck because." He's already onto me. He knows that I'm more streetwise than you. He'll be expecting it from me. He won't expect it from you because you're just super innocent or whatever. And poor Paxton is fucking terrified. But the person that comes down, who comes down what would be the disbelief door, because again, no matter what door you pick, you end up in the same place.
Yeah,
it's this creepy ass fucking figure comes down. She's holding a pie and like an old fashioned lamp, like a lamp, or what's it called, like a paraffin lamp thing.
Yeah.
And just come shuffling in, and I was like, okay, shit. Are we getting on then? Is this the one true religion thing? Are we already jumping into the supernatural? Because I'm like, what the fuck is
creepy
this person?
Fucking bitch, like creepy fucker.
And what we get when we kind of cut back up to him, he's talking to them over a speakerphone. There's a speaker going down into the basement, and he's talking to them on it while they're down there, and while he's talking to them, he has this cool little miniature of the house, which is almost like awesome, a maze down there. And it's great. I wish there had been more time spent on that, because you see it a bit in the trailer, but you only get a couple of small glimpses in the movie of it, because it's a real intricate kind of fucking thing. It shows the basement, the two things going down to it, the room, and he's carving out little miniatures of them while he's talking to them. And it's just, I would have liked to see a little bit more of that, because it's really fucking cool. But yeah, like while he's talking to them, he's saying that the figure they see before them is a prophet of God, and he said he kept them in the house because he wants to prove the miracle is real by having them witness the miracle, which is there's poison in the pie. He's put in whatever, hemlock and something else. He said, you're going to watch, she's going to die and come back to life. And then while this is going on, she's fucking, your one is using her bare hands to fucking scoff this pie into her gob. we get some shots of the elder, who is Topher Grace, going to house to house, and he arrives at Hugh's house, and they try to scream, but he can't hear they can't hear them. They see there's a box of matches under the ground on the rug, so they're pulling the rug towards them under the door to try and get the matches. But unfortunately they can't get a fire lit to warn him, and Topher Grace just heads off. I was wondering, was that's going to be him? Are we going to see him again? Is he going to be their savior? But nope, that's it. He comes back again, rings the doorbell just to give him a booklet on the Book of Mormon, and off he goes. And
that's when we see the bikes are actually gone, because we're thinking, like, has he not seen the bikes? And we get the very similar, the exact same shot again of where the gate's coming through the gate and the bikes are not there, and you're like, ooh, fuck, okay.
Yeah, because he'd given them their jackets back at this point. I forgot that part. He'd given them the jackets back, and when they check, Barnes, the key isn't in her pocket, it's actually in Paxton's pocket, and they're like, why? He's obviously been through our pockets. Why is this in yours, not in mine? But while they're up and fucking trying to fucking grab the matches and all the rest of it, they come back down and they see the woman come back to life, and so she comes back and she starts spouting all sorts of stuff. Like, they've checked her already before all this happened. They've checked her and they see she's no pulse, she's not breathing, she's definitely dead. But when they come back down, she's lying on the table, and she jumps up and starts speaking some sort of scripture about things not being real and and seeing clouds and all the rest of it. And when Hugh Grant comes back out and leads this fucking woman up and out a door, and then he starts quizzing them about what they saw. And so, like, Paxton starts telling him about what she saw, like the prophet had said she saw while she was dead, and all this kind of stuff. And he's saying, "Well, look, this is the true religion. You've just seen someone come back to life. Did they come back to life or not? I mean, you're saying that you saw it. Do you believe that she came back to life?" And you're like, "Well, yes, she was dead. That's what we saw." But then again, Paxton comes back and Barnes counters him again, saying, "Well, look, you're saying that it is, but earlier on she'd mentioned she didn't like Taco Bell, and that's because she had a near-death experience where she collapsed or something in there, and she was dead, and then she had seen a lot of the same stuff that she's talking to." And he said, "But it's not. It's a near-death experience, so you've done something with her, and she's come back and had the same experience. Somehow you've done that, and that's all it is, that she's not actually dead." And it's just, there's always a counter.
Exactly, that's the beautiful thing.
Yeah.
But
what did you think at this point? Because we've been introduced to her. Did you think we were gonna? Is this it? We're now on supernatural stuff, or where were you feeling at this point?
The minute crazy bitch lady arrived, it's just like, right, okay, is it? Because up to this point, it was a really kind of dark psychological thriller, and I was a bit worried it was going to go off the rails and just suddenly just turn into a horror movie and just switch genres. But luckily, it kind of didn't. Not too much anyway. But when she arrives, it was just, I was definitely worried. What the fuck is the point of this person? But it serves a perfect point. And it's like there's little moments where she comes back down and she's saying that the woman who's face down in the pie, and they checked the pulse, but she'd said it looks like she's moved, or she's in a different position or something. Her hand was slightly different, so she's very observant, and that comes to the fore a little bit later on. But that's some nice foreshadowing that she's aware, like, something's not right. She doesn't think it's the same woman, which is
but she actually doesn't think that straight away. She thinks when she says that, I think that she's moved. She thinks, oh, she's alive. She's because she's moved. Not that it's a whole different woman, but she's like, she's moved, so she's still alive. She's come back to life. That's her first kind of thing of it. Is Paxton's like, oh my god, this person's come back from the dead, because that's what she wants to believe, that people can do that. Whatever.
But it's like, no, she hasn't. No, you're seeing something different.
Yeah. And then so like, while they're having this argument, and so while Paxton is kind of behind him, Hugh Grant has walked up, and he's now like face to face with Barnes, and he's saying to her, explaining to her, like, everything that you believe with this stuff can be easily explained away, and da. And as they're doing this conversation, Barnes says the magic word, which is magic underpants, and we expect then Hugh Grant to get stabbed, but we just see a flash and blood falling down in their hands, and it's actually Hugh Grant has pulled out. He's got a box cutter knife, and he's looking cut Barnes' throat, which I just wasn't expecting.
Wasn't expecting at all. It's just like, fucking hell, that was excellent.
Yeah. But and again, he's still trying to convince her. So she's fucking collapsed on the ground, and he's just calm as fuck. Like, she's on the ground bleeding out. And then Paxton starts saying that, she's actually going to come back to life. And she's like, no, she can't. How would she come back to life? And then while she's on the ground, he goes over and he cuts open her arm, and he takes out this little metal device, which he tells her, he goes, oh, this is actually, she's only a program, and that we're actually living inside a simulation. And that if you were to go ahead and kill yourself, you would die and come back to life in the real world. And so straight away, remember Barnes had said that you just need to keep on challenging his theories. Poor old Barnes is fucking bleeding out on the ground. But so she has to challenge him. She's like, no, your whole theory about everything being in a simulation can't be real. She goes, because what you've got there in your hand is an IUD. It's a birth control device. And so he starts challenging that, saying, well, why would a Mormon girl have having an IUD? And he just keep challenging each other. And he's just, like, he doesn't believe any of this simulation stuff, but he's just pitching it to her to see what he can get her to believe, and how malleable, how what we'll believe, what our eyes will tell us. If someone tells you something and you see something at the same time, you'll just meld the two together and go, oh, it must be real, because it doesn't really, A, it doesn't really follow B, C, D, but when someone pitches it to you, well, why else would it be there? Then that's how people end up starting to believe this stuff. And it's great. This happens the whole way throughout the movie. It's just challenging and then retort and vice versa. And it's just, it's really, really enjoyable. But she then starts to tell him that she reckons she has an idea what has happened. And she says that you're improvising the whole way through. That whole, like we just said, the Matrix style deal of us all being in a simulation. She said you weren't planning on that. And so you're improvising, and I reckon that your plan originally was just to have with the woman and her come back to life, but you weren't expecting your man to come to the door, all this other shit. And she said that I reckon that there was a body switch because I noticed if someone moved. Initially, she obviously thought someone had come back to life, but now she thinks no. The reason it was different is it was a body switch, and so that would mean there's a hidden door. And so she goes around looking, and eventually she does. She finds one in the ground, and it's a ladder that goes even further down into the house. How fucking deep? Yeah. So of course it's a play. Then they give you a shot of Dante's Inferno, and there's whatever 7 levels of hell or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And so like it just seems to be further and further you're going down into this rabbit hole,
into the depths.
Yeah, and it's fucking like fair play to her because she's just all she sees down. She's like, "What? Well, there is only one way to go. Like, she can't get out through the house. He's not going to let her." And so she can go down into this fucking set of stairs or a ladder that leads down further into it, or she can just stay there and be killed by him. So she's like, oh, "Okay."
There is no
she
choice. You just stay in the room with the killer, or just go lower into the depths of hell. It's just like, okay. Down you fucking go, like.
Yeah. And when she goes down, sure enough, she sees the body of the other woman that did actually die, and he slams the door behind her. And now she's in this like full-on crypt. Each door leads to another door. There's a lot of religious fucking symbolism and stuff going on, and there's also a bunch of candles that are lit all down the place. Now, so he must have had the time to go down and put all these candles and light them all around the place. It reminded me of when you're playing a video game like fucking, I don't know, Elder Scrolls or Skyrim, and you go down to this place that supposedly, some place that's been undiscovered in fucking hundreds of years. But when you go down, there's fucking candles lit everywhere. Who the fuck has been putting these candles out there?
And there's doors that are like made of rock that open on a swivel with a timer or something. Just like, what the fuck? And there's candles behind this door. What the fuck are you on about?
So they get
the bike lock is down there as well.
The
right?
bike lock, but I loved that, because she walks down, she sees the bike lock is locking one of the doors, and she has the key. So you wonder, did he always know? What was that? That was straight away. That's it. Like in my head, I was like, oh, was he always planning to kill Barnes because he put the key in the other girl's pocket, or did he know they'd end up going down there together? What was this his plan all along? Like the maze that he's made at the house, the little thing, and are they just rats in his maze? And he knew all along he was going to kill Barnes, and she was the one that was going to get out. But how would he know that? Because how would he know which one was the full believer and which one had only joined the church later on? It was cool. It was raising a load of questions. It still had me guessing exactly where they were going to go. So this is the part then that I wasn't completely sure on, right? So they come down, she gets down into the last kind of room that there is, and there's a bunch of women in cages, all wearing those same kind of rags as the first woman that died. And he comes down and asks her if she's figured it out yet. And so she says, yeah, you've got me to come down here. You've got, that the one true religion basically is control. That's what it is. That's what the one true religion is. It's not anything mystical or anything like that. It's just that
he
it's
knew
control.
He could control her to follow all these steps and to end up in this room. And you're kind of like, okay, I kind of get that. But then there's cages with all these women.
Yeah, I think, and that's the part I was having trouble with, because he says
like he's obviously before.
Like because he says that those women in the cages, he says that they're all there because they're believers. They all believe. Like that's how we got your one to eat the pie and kill herself, because she thought she'd come back to life. And it's there's just stuff like that. True. There's just I don't get that part. I mean, why would these women agree to that? They're all locked in cages, which he keeps alive with just enough water and just enough food.
I was thinking, what was his plan? Was his plan that Paxton's going to go down there and become one of these women?
That's what I was thinking.
Did he go through a cycle with all these women all the time, and they've all just ended up here because of his control?
Yeah, and that's what I wasn't entirely sure on.
It's strange how you would break somebody so much that they'd agree to just get into a cage. Like how fucking batshit crazy would these people be, even if you're a devout religious person, to submit to the control of being trapped in a cage down here, and it just seems it works in terms of it's a shock and awe kind of scenario with the scene. It's like, Jesus Christ, all these people in the cage, and it has this kind of cyclical nature to it, like, oh my God, he's done this before with so many different women, and it works like that. But when you kind of break into it a little bit and break it down, it's kind of like, what and how long have you done this, and is there missing people, is there missing persons? It's just it kind of feels a little bit thrown together, a little bit. It doesn't quite stand up to scrutiny.
No, and I think the only reason I think it doesn't stand up is like that you maybe would just forget it and let it move on, is the fact that it has been so great up to now, and that's why that line at the start about the metal walls doesn't quite fit, because the writing apart from that is great. This just doesn't quite sit with what we've kind of seen so far in the movie, and that's why it's a bit of a letdown, because you're kind of wondering, like you said, are these a bunch of like other Paxtons, other believers who've come in and ended up staying, or are they the first people that have ever come down to his other room?
Because the mystery up to this point is really good, really engaging. Going like, what is this guy's fucking deal? Like, what's his plan? What's he like? At multiple stages throughout the movie, you're wondering, like, what's going to happen? What is his master plan? And up to that point, it's very engaging, and it's even to this point and on from this point, it still is engaging, but it's just a slight misstep where you're just like, that's not as cooler, it's not as great a reveal as you would want. But then again, I don't know what I would have written for the end of that.
I suppose in this one as well, I mean, it's good. I'm glad they didn't go down the kind of supernatural route. They kind of left it that way, but it's like, again, I think it's so different. But again, not like you, Daz. If I try to think how I would end this, I'm not entirely sure. But it's as he's kind of going through, he's giving the bad guy speech that they all do. He's telling his plan and blah blah blah. Like, because I don't know, he does, because he hasn't really lied to them that much. He's kind of that's throughout it. Like, he's being fairly honest, or not honest, but he's tiptoed around it without actually outright lying so much. Apart from saying his wife is in the room, but he does. She could very well be in the house. One of those women could be his wife. He even says at one point when they ask about the church, did you build this yourself? And he goes, no, my wife actually built this. And he was very, very quick to answer it. I was like, okay, well, did she? Was she one of the original women that's down there or something? You just leave it up to you, I guess.
That his wife is was that person or something. I don't know.
Yeah. But I suppose just leave it up to you. But as he's giving his kind of bad guy speech, she pulls out that letter opener and she stabs him in the neck. And she fucking belts it off out of the room, and she has to basically make her way back up to the basement because she's down in a fucking dungeon here with these poor women. And there's a cool shot here, Daz. When I mentioned the maze earlier on, there's a great shot. Isn't it great? Like, she's running through the house, and then they kind of zoom as she's running. We cut into the main living room. We see his little miniature that he has and the overhead view of it, and we just see her as if she's running through the miniature, and it pulls
up
cool.
to her coming out of the actual the actual door. It's just a masterful shot. It's kind of a shot for a trailer, because I wish they'd leaned more into that. But it is one of those, when you're pitching it, kind of going, can I do this shot? It's going to cost about $400,000, but it looks really good.
It really is well done. Like, it's perfect. And as you said, it transitions straight into her coming, bam, back up into the room. And she's still at this point, like, yes, she's gotten away from all the rest of it, but she knows that these doors are locked. Like, how is she supposed to get out of this place still? That's still in your mind, But she makes it back to the basement, but he's not dead. He arrives up, and he's there with a knife, and he stabs her in the stomach, and they're both bleeding out on the ground. Him stabbed in the neck, her stabbed in the ground, and he's saying to her, why don't you pray to us? As he's dying out, he's croaking, and she is saying to him, look, prayer doesn't work. They've done studies that show that they had people who were dying, and they had a bunch of people pray for them, and then a bunch of other people didn't pray for this other bunch, and there's no difference. It showed it doesn't actually work, but there's still something beautiful about the fact that we all know that it doesn't actually have an effect, but we do it because we care about each other. We do it because,
which is lovely.
We want to feel that we're helping others, or that other people, that there's still goodness in the world, and that's why it's there. And it is a nice thought, but it's they right till the end they're still doing this, Anyway, he fucking crawls towards her on his hands and knees, and he's about to slit her throat, and the next thing he gets bludgeoned from behind because Barnes is with her last bit of life, has just stood up and she has a plank with some nails sticking out of it that they'd found earlier on, and she just fucking batters him, and he dies. But then Barnes dies as well, and that's her miracle. Then that's Paxton's miracle. That's her savior. She's appeared against all odds, bleeding out, necking just enough to save her just before she dies. But she manages to get out. She finds she's looking through his puzzle or whatever, and she finds that he's a hidden way to unlock one of the windows, and she gets out of the place. And while she's out, she kind of this is the part where she's out, because she'd mentioned earlier on if she could come back as anything, she'd come back as a butterfly and land on people's hands to let them know that she's there and blah blah. She stops and she's outside and she looks down in her hand and there's a butterfly there. But then it kind of cuts back to it and it's not there anymore. So you're kind of like, what is it? Is she having a? Is it? Obviously, it's a symbolism for something. Is it that?
Is she seeing what she wants to see? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Is she seeing what she wants to see, or did she? I don't know. She has some sort of fucking psychotic break, or did she never make it out in the first place? Is she still? Did she see anything? Is she still dead in the basement? And she never made it out. It's. But I think seeing what you want to see is probably the most realistic answer. But she makes it out, and she's in the.
And it's as open ended as it kind of needs to be, which is good for an ending. Because initially, when the butterfly landed, I was just like, if they didn't show that it wasn't there, I would have been like, oh fuck off! Just like, come on. There's such ambiguity and dichotomy throughout the whole script, and they continue it up to the last shot, which is fucking great. Like,
and they leave it there. She gets out and she scrambles out, but she scrambles out into the snow. Like a full snowy ground and stuff like that, which I'm not sure if we see raining. Was it fully snowing? I suppose it was. And Topher Grace was there.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, there was.
Snow. There was a blizzard. Yeah.
Yes. So she crawls out and she gets out into the thing, and then that's it. It's cool because we don't get anything else for her to find out. If your belief was maybe is she seeing it? Is she not? Did she die in it? What were the chances of Paxton actually coming back? If you want to believe that she died in the basement, you can, but we don't see exactly. I assume she got out. But whether or not she saw the butterfly, I think you're right, Daz. I think it's seeing what you want to see. But that's just how and it's just ended there. And I thought it was ended well. It's it's just really that scene of not being fully explained, because most of the things are explained as they go along. I guess I want to know why are these women? Why have they all agreed to be living in these cages where he comes down every so often and gives them a bit of water and a bit of food, but they live bent, hunched over in these fucking cages.
Or if there was a throwaway line or something, like a throwaway line early on, if there was something about, you're not the first that have called here, throughout my time here, that like I always like people calling to us to have discussions and stuff like that. I don't know if there was a line like that where then you realize, these are all the people that came before for this discussion. Yeah. Maybe that's alluded to. I don't know, but I didn't hear a line like that.
But even if they did, that would still be. I don't know. It would still be incredibly convenient. What are the chances that all those women down there would be women? Like, how do you know it's not like any time I've had fucking religious people call to my door, it's either a man or a woman, or it's been two dudes. It's never been two women, just for very much safety reasons and stuff. But it's like I really enjoyed it, man, and it's from a studio that can barely do any wrong in my eyes. They just keep knocking it out of the park. Yeah, I'm interested to see the Nicole Kidman one they're bringing out. Have you seen that one? The trailer for that one, Baby Doll. No. Check out the trailer. It's kind of it's real. It looks kind of steamy, but at the same time, it's a thriller and it's
cool.
Nicole Kidman and a younger dude and stuff. The trailer looks kind of cool. But that's it for the movie. It's thoroughly enjoyable. Definitely recommend. I think the more we've gone through it there, Daz, I think I would join you on the 4-star. I was creeping up on it, but the more we were talking through it, I was like, actually, I want to watch. I actually wouldn't mind watching this again.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. So I think I probably would join you on the 4 stars. Like it's thoroughly enjoyable. I hope that it does. I hope that it's does well or is doing well. But it's great to see Hugh Grant. I love him in this kind of role, like in this and like in The Gentleman. It's those roles where he's just stepping outside what we've known him for, which is basically fucking rom-coms.
He's having a ball. Like he's just he's must be like loving this kind of playing against type. But it's he's been doing it so much now. It's not playing against type. He's genre hopping all over the place, and he's fucking loving it, which is delight to see, because he's obviously showcasing that he's far greater actor than people probably gave him credit for, with the kind of
or what they're known
charming
for. Like, I mean,
English gent, you know.
And I think I think that's for actors like him and others, it can really stand out when they change their where you know them for the genres as they get older. It can really work. Like a lot of people think of Leslie Nielsen as this, funny comedian guy. He didn't start doing that until later in his career. Like he was old enough before he went into it. He was a very serious actor and wasn't doing comedy. But everybody's completely remembered for all the slapstick, Naked Gun, Police Squad kind of stuff, which he's hilarious in, and it's more funny because he's a straight-faced actor. Your man who played the captain in Pan's Labyrinth, when he's a vicious son of a bitch, beats your man's head. He's a comedy actor. No people were fucking like, what the fuck is going on? Yeah. So when he was getting picked for like, what the fuck is this guy going to do? And sometimes that can really pay off. Like when you see Adam Sandler in a serious role and he pulls it off. Or Matthew McConaughey was in fucking like, how was it fucking Failure to Launch? Or no, who was that?
Yeah, one of those 65 rom-coms but all these, before he won an Oscar.
He's tons of this kind of shit that he was in, and and I think that sometimes it can really pay off when you pull an actor in. Like I loved Danny McBride in Covenant. Okay, not a great movie, but I loved him in that. It's a serious role that he brings a bit of humor to it, but it's great. I think when that's done with some actors, they pull it off really well. Now some obviously it doesn't. You see some coming in, it's like, no, this person doesn't fit this cast at all.
Stay in your lane, buddy.
But some actors, it's great it's great when you see someone who's a comedic actor show off their drama chops. And like, oh Jesus, that's fucking impressive, So I think it's great seeing the stuff that Hugh Grant is in now. And please God he keeps going. And I hope to see more of both Sophie Thatcher and Chloe East, because I thought they were great. And obviously, Sophie Thatcher will be in the next season of Yellow Jackets, I assume. Well, I'll have to look up and see what else Chloe East is in, because I don't think I've seen her anything. So I'll have to check that out. But yeah, that's it on the movie review.
Super duper. Well done. Yeah, that was a nice one to talk through, and I definitely will watch that again. I thought it was excellent. So 4 stars from both of us. So that is an end to this week's episode. Thanks a million to everyone for listening, subscribing and sharing and commenting and all of the above. We will be back next week with another movie review and some other bits and bobs. Take it easy.